Graphic design? Can you make a living at that?
3, 2, 1, fun.
Welcome to Design Futures, a show about what happens after design school. I'm Chris St. Cyr, and my guest on this episode is Brett Lindstrom. How are you, man?
I'm great, man. How are you doing?
I'm good. Let's hear all about Brett. Brett is the founder and head of creative at Fish and Chips, a Web3 and crypto agency. He has also been an art director for the 2019 Super Bowl, former head of design at CBS Fantasy Sports, former creative director at Citibank, creator of the Rolling Loud brand, the largest hip hop festival in the world, a Billboard Top 40 songwriter, that's a first for this podcast, a crypto advocate, and he is the co-host of the Cryptocurrents podcast. He is a 2011 graduate of Ringling College of Art and Design.
That's a lot of stuff.
Well, yeah, I guess so. That is a lot of stuff. Well, 2011. That's it's been some time.
That's a while. It's a while ago, yeah.
Yeah. So you got years that you've been doing stuff. So we gotta talk about all the highlights.
I feel like an old man now.
That's our connection point, Ringling.
Yeah.
When I taught there years ago, in 2011 was my last year there at Ringling. And we were talking about, like, I didn't know that you were from Florida. So you mentioned that you grew up in Key West, which I never got a chance to get to Key West when I was there. So I'm gonna have to at some point.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it just seems like a destination spot, but like, what's it like growing up in a place like Key West?
Yeah, I mean, so Key West is really interesting because Key West, their slogan is one human family. So like whoever you are, no matter what your background is, no matter what it is, like you're really open and accepting of anybody. So you got a lot of super weird people there. You got normal people there. You got just anybody. But like they say that it's a drinking town with a tourist problem. And that kind of reigns true to a certain extent. But yeah, growing up there's crazy, man. It's a party 24/7. I had kind of loose reins when I lived down there. I didn't really have a bedtime, so I was running the streets, living with the homeless folks, holding up signs. Why lie? I need a beer.
Scamming the tourists.
Yeah. It was fun. No, it was fun, man. It was a good time. It's a great place.
So you lived there. You grew up in Florida. So is that like that's how you heard about Ringling? That's how you ended up there, just like looking at Florida schools or art schools?
So
or how did you get there?
Yeah, so actually, I had been living up in Ohio for a while after that. After I graduated from high school, I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life. I started, my family actually lived up in Ohio. I was kind of a bad kid, so they sent me down for one summer to live in Key West, and I ended up staying down there for all of high school. So after that, I came up to Ohio and started like thinking about college. Okay, maybe I'll do this. I took a course on like, okay, what should you do? One thing was photography, and I was like, well, that's kind of maybe a cool hobby. And then the other one was design, and I was like, I could probably make a living at that. So let me try one class out. And so I tried one class out up there, and I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. And I'd gone through a really bad breakup, right? And I just needed to get out. Everything reminded me of her, this, that, and the other. And I needed to get out of there. And so, I lived in Florida before, and Ringling was down there. One of my teachers recommended me go there. He's like, this school you're at right now, we got go to Ringling. I was like, dude, what? But, yeah, man. So that's kind of how I ended up at Ringling. And it was probably the best decision I made.
Yeah, cool. So, what was your time like there? What was the experience like? You said it was a good thing, but like what stands out from those?
Yeah, I think the experience was I was out of my mind at that time. I was just totally, embracing the art part of it, being around artists, wild thoughts and ideas, and behaving wildly, and events and parties and this and that. And I actually found that Ringling seemed pretty conservative in the way that they kind of approached art, as far as like the way that people viewed the college, some of the stuff that they did. Like we would try to organize things on campus, and like security would come and shut us down and stuff like that. But we would still try to do it anyway. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I loved Ringling. I mean, being around the people that I was around really helped me grow. You know, you get a competitive but not too competitive kind of nature to you. You're around people, you can answer questions all the time. You figure out kind of like what your voice is and whatnot. I think for me, at that time, painting was really important to me.
Mhm.
And you know, so I hung around a lot of the time with painters. It's always my first art. I actually started off as a graffiti artist. That's why I'm even a designer. Um, but yeah, I love Ringling.
Uh,
Um, yeah, I mean, it's everything about it. It was great, except for how much it costs because it's a lot.
oh yeah, it's a lot. Those private art design schools are a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah, did you have a certain course or project that you really kind of gravitated towards that? I mean, you did end up going in sort of the digital path. We talked about like your job titles. We'll talk
Yeah,
about some of those details, but was
yeah.
there like a web project or something that you really liked and that led you to your career? Or
The reason I ended up kind of where I am now is I see design really as a way to change the world because it sits in the middle of many different things. If you look at, and this was my philosophy back then, I mean, look at all this stuff behind you. That's all design.
yeah.
Everything was designed, and artists touched absolutely every physical object and thing and message and all of it. That's really what drew me in. And ultimately, I think the reason why I ended up in the digital space was because I realized that that was going to be the most impactful space.
Mhm.
And so I think the first time I really kind of realized that, ironically, wasn't, I don't think it was in a class. I
Yeah.
think it was in discussions. We created, I don't remember if you remember this, maybe it happened right after you left, but we created like the largest on campus student run without their knowledge event. It just basically took over the campus. We never talked to them, we didn't do anything. We had vendors come in, we
What
had
was
bands
it?
play. It was called Zigzag. It was the magazine.
Oh,
So
okay.
it was a magazine that we actually went into the labs, and like people would donate their color prints because all of us had a specific number of color prints. And
Mhm.
so we would have students who would donate their color prints, and we'd print the covers in color, and then we print the rest with our free black and white prints, and we would
Oh,
cut
yeah.
them up and cut them by hand. And I was super like anal about how we cut them up because I was at that stage in my design career where I'm like, these corners have to be perfect, no, throw it away, like, you know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
nuts like that, you know. And so we would sit up at 3 a.m. and we're cutting these Zigzag magazines, and we're handing them out, you know, for free. And so we decided to take that kind of that brand and start a festival called the Subterranean Celebration. And that was this event that we threw on campus. Like I actually, like, I rapped at it, which was hilarious. Now I wish I had video of that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that would be great. I think there's something floating out there somewhere.
Probably.
But yeah, man, I wouldn't say it's a class. It was
Right.
probably more stuff like that, where the grassroots artists, you know, just kind of late night at a party, you know, most people would be getting hammered and you know, doing keg stands, but we're sitting over in the corner talking about, like, you know, like, how is this particular political movement going to be shaped by this new technology, like on Facebook, because Facebook was just popping off then. And
Right.
like, how does design play into those campaigns, and this, that, and the other. And like other people are just getting like wasted, and we're over there
Yeah.
nerding out over this art stuff.
So we did mention like the digital space. So I want to talk about we'll talk about like show some work, right? And then talk
Okay,
about like
yeah.
your career, kind of your career path. Um, uh, which one do you want to start with?
We can start with the Super Bowl.
So what was your role here? Super Bowl Sports HQ. And
Yeah, so we were in control of the 2019 Super Bowl at CBS Sports that year, and we were launching a 24/7 streaming platform called CBS Sports HQ. So I did the branding for CBS Sports HQ, created a lot of the aesthetics and graphics and things like that, and also played a pretty big part in kind of the strategy behind it and all of the other products that we were trying to funnel into launching like the Super Bowl. There's a lot of eyes there. There's a lot of different things. So tying together our other platforms and products to help, create sponsorships for ourselves within this thing was a big part of what I was doing. So you can see all the placements and logos and all that stuff here, but really behind the scenes, the most important part of it was how are we going to funnel our other products and platforms through this and make the best use of our time with all of our other platforms that we're trying to push as well. And then if you see right here in the center, and for those that are maybe just listening, there's a spot where it says sports line, and then there's a lock. You wouldn't think that something this simple would convert as many people as it did, and it did. And we still have it in the platform today, years after I've left. And what that did was that opened up sports betting data with our AI models at that time, which weren't as advanced as AI models are now, but it still runs the same. And what that did was it unlocked content within this page itself that you would not already see. One of the really cool things about this, man, was that I actually, during my time there, a big part of what I did was work with the ad team, because a lot of what we did was we would create features that our users wanted, and we would frame them around a sponsorship. So for example, the draft room was having issues, or we just wanted to have the draft room, do something different. But for the one where the draft was having issues, we had a sponsorship not opportunity, but locked in with Snickers. So I was like, all right, well, what can we do creatively here to address two different things? One, we've got Snickers. Two, we got this draft room that keeps crashing down. Got it. Once the draft crashes, a sign comes up and it says, "Not going anywhere for a while, grab a Snickers." So that was a good example of kind of utilizing contextual opportunity and providing value to our users at the same time. And I did a lot of that. I worked with a lot of the sponsorship.
Cool. All right, let's talk about Rolling Loud. Do you want to do some rapping here on the podcast?
I don't know about that. I do have a single dropping in a few months or in a couple weeks that you guys can check out. Yeah. I'll give it to you. You can leave it in the description or something. So Rolling Loud is a really interesting project. It is it's the largest hip hop festival in the world now. I would have never imagined that would have happened back when I was creating it. The story behind this is actually quite interesting and really intense for me at that time. This was around the time that I was trying to start my own company, Lindstrom Creative. I was pretty young. I didn't have a ton of talent. I was walking into businesses being like, "Hey, listen, can I design pamphlets? Can I design flyers? Can I do whatever for you?" I didn't get a single one. So I was putting all my money. I had all my money spent, and I basically was homeless at this point. And so I'm living in my car, and a buddy of mine who actually went to school, Van, he hits me up and he's like, "Dude, I can't handle this client. Can you take them on?" And I was like, "Yeah, who is it?" He's like, "It's a hip hop and rap group. They want t-shirts that are designed, with these logos and whatever." And that turned into working with them full time. They were a company called Dope Entertainment at the time. And so I'm charging them $250 for certain stuff. And I'm like, that's a killing for me. That'll get me half of rent for the next, whatever. And so I built out their whole design system, helped them do all of that stuff. And fast forward now, it's the largest hip hop festival in the entire world. If you go to any show, there's thousands and thousands of people. It's in 7 different countries. So this is the first instance that woke me up to maybe I've got some skill here in seeing kind of behind a brand and creating that. With all of those artists that we were working with, they started to come to me because I was in the music industry as well. They started coming to me and were like, "Hey man, will you help us with our branding? Hey man, will you help us, with even things like how do we manage stress as an artist? I got these dudes that are coming to me and they're trying to get me hooked on fentanyl, and I'm like, I don't even smoke weed, and so they're coming to me with all this because I'd been so heavily in the industry. I'd seen everything. And so, I would do my best to kind of help them out with that stuff. And what it turned into was, I came up with an idea during COVID. I was like, we need to create some awareness. Suicide had gone up by 2000% during COVID. So we created this thing called the Suicide Mixtape. And I brought in a bunch of the rappers that I knew and a kid named Preston Howell from NBC's The Voice. And we threw this big event and this big recording session. And there's a video, a photo of it there. Just super good vibes. And it was a song that I wrote called Supply and Demand. And I wrote that while I was homeless in my car, sitting at a red light. I had a beat that I'd created playing, and I wrote the hook right there at the red light, and cars are like honking at me, and they're trying to drive by me, and I'm sitting there like,
like
hold
you
on,
can't
man, I gotta
stop
write this.
The creative moment.
I gotta write this down. I remember exactly where I was, but yeah, man, it's a crazy, crazy story. One of probably the craziest I've had in my life, but one that paid off probably the most, because that song ended up charting at number 36 on the Billboard Activator chart, which was cool. So that was a very exciting time. And this was the nonprofit that we created afterwards. It's called Leave on the Light. These are some of the branding and design, and us spray painting all the t-shirts by hand. And then the really cool part is how we packaged it at the end into these gold boxes. And we sent them out to all these influencers, some really great kids that were interested in like doing good. So we worked with them, and they just spread the news and got these out to so many people. I think we touched like 4 million people or something like that with this, which was amazing. Wow. It's definitely a very meaningful time in my life. And this all was happening as I was at Citibank as a creative director. We'd gone remote at this time. So I was doing all this like when I wasn't designing and directing for Citi. And so my
two very different worlds.
They were so different. It's so crazy. But I had this amazing boss at Citibank who caught wind that I was doing this, and he would schedule meetings for me in a way that allowed me to spend time. Like there were a couple days where I'd be off the grid, and he would cover for me, and nothing was wrong. There was no issues. So I owe him a lot. His name is Mark Rudd. Shout out to you, man. Love you to death. That helped a lot of people, saved a lot of people's lives. You really have in my back there. So that was super important part of this whole thing.
Yeah, that's such a great story. You said yes to somebody who gave you a call. It's like, I can't handle this client. And then it led to all this.
The irony was that it was Van Jasmine who I started Zigzag with at Ringling. So if it wasn't for Ringling, none of this would have happened. And if it wasn't for Van, the Rolling Loud thing wouldn't have happened. So another shout out, Van, I love you. Thanks for everything. Cool. I think that's important too. You gotta keep your people close.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, man.
Okay, you have to explain zombie cupcakes. I remember seeing this a few years ago, maybe, and I was like, I don't know what the hell this is, but it looks super cool. So, okay, Brett, you're gonna have to explain zombie cupcakes to me and everybody else who's gonna listen to this.
Yeah, so zombie cupcakes. I think a good backstory would be around the time I was at CBS Sports, I started getting pretty deep into crypto. The crypto space. I liked the rebellious nature of it. I liked that it was fighting against kind of tyrannical financial institutions. It was challenging the status quo, the rebellious nature of it. And so I started buying some crypto. It skyrocketed. I made some money, and then I lost all of it, which is what happens to everybody in crypto pretty much. So
common story
until your second time, and then you make money for real. So that was good that I made my initial errors then. So zombie cupcakes is actually really interesting. I don't know how many people, I'm assuming most people know what NFTs are. This was an interesting approach to NFTs. And again, another thing with mental health, I was trying to create a game that provides passive therapy to individuals that play it using audio visual entrainment methods, which was something that I studied at Ringling as well. Basically, as a part of like the propaganda studies that I did, that's using things like self-hypnosis to change your behavioral thoughts and patterns. So I wanted to reappropriate it into and gamify it to help people who are suffering with depression and addiction and things like that. So the whole game is centered around mental health and how to help people deal with their issues and ADHD and stuff like that. So the way crypto gets involved is that the characters that you utilize in this game are NFTs. And so the way that you create these NFTs is by staking the crypto that you have. It's called Z-Cup. So you'll put this crypto in this place in the UI and it'll sit there. And after a specific amount of time, this cupcake will grow. And then you can pull out your crypto and the cupcake comes out with it. So there's the price of the actual crypto asset, Z-Cup, which is important for investors and people that are trying to buy into the project. It's important for me because that's how I generate revenue, stuff like that. So that's how it ties in. Also, the second portion of it is to reward individuals for playing and for getting help. So as you play the game, you're rewarded in the crypto. So people purchasing the NFTs, people doing this, funnel money into the ecosystem. And then the same way money gets funneled out to help people with their depression and their suicide, video gaming, all that stuff. And you can buy different NFTs that do different things, kind of like Magic the Gathering or, Pokemon or something like that. And, there's a little animated video there. It shows you how like the game would have worked. It kind of highlights my interest in crypto, which I'm very, very deep in. Like that is like my deepest passion, other than maybe music, is crypto. I question that sometimes whether it should be, but it is. We got a grant though. We got a grant from one of the largest companies in crypto. At least they used to be until they made a poor decision. But yeah. That's zombie cupcakes. Did I do an okay job of explaining it? Because crypto can get super confusing.
So what's an NFT?
So an NFT in this sense is a digital collectible, essentially. It's basically metadata stored on the blockchain. It could be visual, it could be audio, it could be this.
So there's all these visuals. Those of you going to watch the video, so did you create all these like characters?
Yeah, man.
That's all you?
Created all of it. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Brand, characters, all of it. It's crazy. Even the tokenomics, the way that the crypto moves through the ecosystem, all of that stuff. It wasn't just the diagram. It was how do we create this token flow so that the economy of the game is sustainable, and tokens move through, and we know that we can generate revenue, and we can make our investors happy, keep them happy, and keep them engaged, stuff like that. So there's just a lot of different stuff, which leads me to one of the things that I think is really important about design, and that's business, being able to understand business. Which I think we can talk a little bit about later.
Well, what is your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I think business is really, 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 especially in the last year, even more important, because we are kind of witnessing in a lot of ways the death of traditional graphic design with AI and the ability of this stuff to generate so rapidly, so quickly, in such a stylized way. It takes a lot for your brand to stick out. And that's where I think true design visionaries are able to keep, because it hasn't been trained on what you've done yet. Right. But you've got to come hard every single time that you're designing something. And the way that you do that is becoming extremely intimate with the business side of things. If you're dealing with a brand, for instance, you need to be able to speak to the soul of that brand. You need to be able to take your own soul, because they'll feel it if it's not there. Right. You need to fuse your soul with their soul. And that's what makes the thing work. That's why so many of my projects were acquired by multi-million-dollar acquisitions and things like that. There's something in my brain that allowed me to do those two things. I'm an idiot in other areas of my life, but that one thing,
come on,
I was somehow able to get. But so I think business is extremely, extremely important. As designers, like especially like visual, not necessarily visual designers, but like in UI and UX design, like we have the privilege of having to understand different types of business. So we can really learn about business as a whole just by taking on projects. So I think it's really important for you to understand business, especially now with AI. And when I speak about this stuff, I'm thinking about it more from a systems design, a UI, UX, experiential design stuff. Graphic design is a little different, right? Graphic design is traditionally what people think of graphic design as more of the visual design and typography and things like that. You got to know business, man. If you want to make money, if you want to survive in this world, you need to understand the business end of things.
Yeah.
Um,
So
uh,
speaking of business, so what like your company, Fish and Chips, I love the name,
yeah,
Fish and Chips,
thanks,
totally
man.
reminds me of Florida.
Yeah.
So what is Fish and Chips? What is a Web3 and crypto agency?
So speaking of business, it's not just a design agency, right? That's one portion of it. We build branding and all that stuff. I handle all that stuff, but there's other things that are involved in crypto, like I mentioned before, like the economy design, where you've got to figure out the math behind a cryptocurrency and what makes it work. You've got community building, like the marketing end of things, interacting with people, and you've got to have connections within that space that help a project or a meme coin, for example, grow into what it needs to be to take off, right? One of the projects that we did recently, it went up by 219 x, so 219 times your money from the entry point, which is massive money. These are massive gains, and it's sustained. It wasn't up and then down. It was up and then it was down. So, because that's how all of them
It always
work.
goes up and down.
Everything goes up and it goes down. But so basically, Fish and Chips really is about building brands, building technology within the Web3 and crypto space. Yeah, I mean, that's it. Full service agency, commercials, branding, community building. And we have a podcast called Cryptocurrents, where we basically talk crap about financial institutions. And I'm joking.
All right.
We have a lot of friends who are in those industries. I should be careful.
Okay, explain to me what a meme coin is. You just said meme coin. I've never heard of that. What's a
Yeah,
meme
a meme
coin?
coin. A meme coin is it's a cryptocurrency that's basically launched out of thin air, with no like utility. There's no like technology behind it. It's the coin itself doesn't need to be used within like a tech stack. A meme coin has no utility or value other than the community that's created. So, for example, a lot of celebrities launch them, but the basic thing is there's no intrinsic value itself behind it other than what the community puts value on, but they go up by thousands of percent. Anyway, so a meme coin is a cryptocurrency that usually are created off of like some sort of cartoon. The imagery, like Pepe was the frog.
Right.
Dogecoin is a cute little Shiba Inu puppy. Shiba Inu is a Shiba Inu puppy. Like it's very simple. It's very basic stuff here, and it's usually the ones that really take off are around like current events. Like Peanut the squirrel became one a while back. So yeah. Anyway, that's kind of what a meme coin is.
That's okay.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy,
I think I need to go back to school to study this stuff.
dude. It's very complicated. It's not easy to understand.
Oh man. So there's all that stuff. There's some stuff I understand, the design stuff, crypto not so much. What like you're doing all this stuff. Like what do you kind of do you have like a typical day? Like do you have like
Yeah.
certain like kind of things you're doing every day or like what are you doing as a uh
Yeah, I watch a lot of financial news. Just owning a business, that's important, and then I jump into kind of some calls with my partner, kickoff meetings, things like that. and then we typically go off on our own and do some work. That might involve me jumping into Figma. That might be, me hopping into, Chat GPT or Replit and, creating some quick prototypes, or running through some concepts and ideas, and I'll start to iterate with that within my own kind of like ecosystem, but I'll pull it out of like the AI. So that's a lot of my time is spent on that. And then when dealing with branding, I really like to, I like to get in and I do some research and like check out other projects and things that are happening. And then I put my own twist on it. I see if this will work for what I'm working on. And then I typically take some time during the day to play video games and just stop working,
Yeah.
go outside. I need to chill. I specifically take time out of my day to do that because mental health issues are real for people that work remotely, like big time. So I'll have a cool show, maybe Rick and Morty on, and throughout the day I'll put some sports news on. So that's kind of my typical day. And
it sounds like a healthy balance of things. Yeah.
Sometimes.
One thing, and you didn't mention it's like an important part of your life, like the mental health. Maybe talk a little bit more about that part of your life, or how it works with, running a business. Like, how do you take care of yourself? What are you doing to, bring balance to your life?
I think the main thing is anything that provides that's healthy. Like I'm not talking about drugs and things here. Like anything that's healthy that promotes stress management. I think stress is probably the number one killer of all human beings. If you look at absolutely any complications, issues, and things from your life, stress is really what's causing it. So anything to stop that stress from creating a spiral, right? And things that I have used in the past. I mean, meditation is really important. I study Buddhism. I also consider myself a Christian, but I study Buddhism really, really extensively, and energy work and things like that. How to kind of shift and sit with energy, and get in touch with the world beyond us. The spirit realm. It sounds a little wacky and kooky, but I found that there's more to our lives than we see in front of us, and so kind of keeping that in mind when I'm going through my day, that's still out there, and there's still something that keeps me grounded. It's not all about this physical world that we're in. It's not all about this technology. That's probably what I would say. Meditation is good.
Yeah.
If you start your day with it, you're typically don't need to do it again.
So you're an entrepreneur. You've done lots of different things. So like there's a number of questions that I've gotten from students that are about clients. Like, how do you create contracts with clients? How do you seek out clients? What's the most difficult aspect of working with a client? Can you speak to like your experience with like that part of business, like being an entrepreneur, but working with clients? Because it is at that point, like there's a creative element, but working with the client, that's the business, right? What's that been like for you?
Yeah, I think it's a lot easier now than it was probably when I started out. You've got things like, again, back to the AI thing. If you need a contract to put together for your business, you can create a contract for absolutely anything. You just need to tell it what to do, and then as a designer, which you are in this instance, throw it into Illustrator, throw it into Figma, make it look pretty, print it out, signature here, do that. Surround yourself with super smart people and wealthy people, because the wealthy people are connected, and the smart people will help you interact with the wealthy people, and they'll also help propel you further in your career. What was a couple of those other
just
things?
like what's the difficult or challenging aspects with working with clients?
Yeah, sometimes clients are gonna, they're gonna ask things, they're gonna push, they're gonna nibble, they're gonna want more than is even fair, to be honest, sometimes. So you need to know where that line is. And typically, back to the contract, you need to put in like a number of revisions like X
Mhm.
number of revisions, and then I start charging you like an hourly rate, or we have to renegotiate the package deal that I put together. And sometimes you have to have hard conversations, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you lose a client. Sometimes
Yeah.
maybe they just don't want to pay the rest. I mean, you're going to fail. That's the most important thing that I can tell anyone. If you think you're going to start a business right out of school, you may, but you will fail. You will fail
Yeah.
along the way, and you're going to have to get tough. You're going to have to learn how to deal with it. You're going to have to push through it. Never give up. Dealing with difficult clients is you also need to learn to have a thicker skin. Like if you're a lot of us started from an art background. It's easier for people who started from an engineering background, like UI UX and stuff like that, or UX research. It's easier for them to take criticism than it is for someone who's pours their heart and soul out over like visual design and created a whole system and things like that. But you really must learn how to leave your ego alone.
Mhm.
But you also kind of need to keep it to make sure that you're confident in what you do. So it's a very big balancing act, and that's probably the thing that takes the longest to really hone, and be able to kind of handle when you're dealing with clients.
It's time to start to wrap up. But before we wrap up, I got the pop quiz
Oh no.
because I am an educator and I can't not have some
You're gonna ask me what
education related.
kerning is?
I am not going to ask you
Yeah,
what kerning is. That is not on the list. No, these
that's
are
funny.
these are easy. Um, so you're working hard, you're doing some branding and watching the financial news, and you're doing all the other things. What is your work beverage? What keeps you
My
going through the
work
day?
beverage. That's a
Yeah,
really good question. My work beverage is a huge bottle of water
good. Gotta stay hydrated.
and kombucha.
Kombucha.
If I'm feeling fancy.
If you're feeling fancy, is that the after work beverage? That's my other question there.
Hey, listen,
Uh,
man.
Kombucha.
Yeah, it's no, it's actually good in the morning. I drank it this evening because I was getting over a cold, but
Oh
um
yeah,
no, usually in the morning is the best time because it's a probiotic, so you
yeah.
want it in you as
Uh,
soon as you can. Yeah.
After work beverage, you got like your end of the day or end of the project celebration.
So I've actually been doing this. I don't really drink. It's very occasionally I'll drink. Like when I go to Key West, I'm gonna drink. But what I've been trying lately are these alcohol alternatives. They've got like functional mushrooms and this, that, and the other that give you like a buzz, but like
Yeah.
there's no hangover, there's no negative impacts on your body. That's what I've tried. I tried that
Oh,
recently, and that's nice to wind down at the end of the day and have a cup of that. And it kind of tastes like whiskey, but it's not whiskey and it doesn't destroy your liver. So
no.
kind of a win-win-win-win-win.
When you are doing maybe the branding work, sketchbook, blank or gridded?
Blank.
Blank, free form.
100% blank always. Yeah.
All right.
That
This question is not about kerning, but type or image?
is a really hard one. Damn. Wow, Chris, you got me. Damn, what?
I
Damn,
don't
this
know.
is hard. I gotta go type.
All right.
You
That's
can get,
showing,
you can, I gotta go type.
yeah. You're showing your education there at Ringling. There's a lot of type there. All right. Key West, which is better, the sunset or the sunrise?
I've only seen the sunrise once. No, that's not true. That's not true. I've been up when the sun rose. I would say the sunset for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kiva sunset is pretty nuts.
Music is a big part of your life. What music genre do you design to, right? You're in the creative kind of, maybe you're painting, maybe you're designing, but like, is there
Yeah,
a genre of music you're listening to?
it'd be electronic music,
Yeah.
EDM probably. Yeah, very synthy
Yeah.
stuff.
Gotcha.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Favorite sport?
football.
Football. All right. Back to the music. Favorite song of all time?
I would say "Smells Like Teen Spirit" by Nirvana,
Oh, wow. Going to the,
but I have a lot.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's a tough question. It's like, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
a good choice
yeah,
though. I like that one.
yeah, yeah. It's a
All
good
right,
one.
last question in the quiz is if you weren't a designer slash crypto advocate, what would you be?
Um, the head of a hedge fund,
That sounds very different.
or independently wealthy writer that just travels the world writing.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, right. Yeah, we'll get there. Just
Uh,
keep the crypto going.
yeah, exactly. Someday. That's your
Yeah,
retirement plan.
yeah,
All
right.
right. You get final thoughts, any advice you might have for, current design students or people right out of art and design school?
Yeah, I mean, for kids that are just getting out of school, uh, people that have, they're still in school, just expect to fail a lot. Expect just expect to just it's tough, man. It's tough. It's tough. Fail fast and fail hard. You will rise higher than you could possibly think if you just go set out to fail. That's what I got.
Yeah, it's just part of the process, right?
Yeah, man.
Brett, it was so great to catch up with you. It's been too long. I always look forward to your posts on LinkedIn because I'm always like, I'm either scratching my head or I'm like learning something. I'm like, okay, what's next? What's he got to teach me
Yeah.
now? Something about crypto and Bitcoin and oh
It's
yeah.
funny.
So,
Yeah, man.
but yeah, keep in touch. You know.
We'll do, man. We'll do. I appreciate you having me on today,
All right.
Chris. It's great seeing you, man.
All right. It's good to see you too.
All right. Catch you
See ya.
later. Bye.
So, what did we learn from Brett? We learned that a meme coin is made of nothing from a current event. I'm not sure what that means, but we learned it. We also learned to take a break, play a video game, or go outside. Relax. Thanks to Brett Lindstrom of Fish and Chips. If you have any comments or questions for me or any of my guests, please leave them in the comments and subscribe so you can catch the next episode of Design Futures. Until next time, go learn something. Your future depends on it. Thanks for listening. See ya.